And we're live.
And we're live, man. Welcome to the first episode of Set the Tone podcast, where, we're going to just be talking to a lot of creatives, anybody that turn their art into a business at the end of the day, anywhere from musical artists, business owners, video directors. Yeah, pretty much that genre or that group of people who were able to turn their art into a business.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited because I think that this is going to be a great opportunity for us to sit down and really reflect with all of the other creatives and business owners in like the community that we involve ourselves in.
Facts.
And we can sit down and really pick everyone's brain and really see how people think about their industry in different ways and what information do they have that everyone else can learn from. And it's gonna be really fun. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like one of those things, like you said, it's not only for you guys, the listeners are going to be able to have like this bank of like knowledge that you're going to be able to pull from. It's not going to be something very specific where it's only directors. It's like kind of, business owners or, just a bunch of people that you're going to be able to pick and pull from. But it's going to be not only for you guys, but for us. That's why I'm super excited, is like just being able to sit down with all these different kind of people and just, like you said, just pick their brain and just learn from their perspective what they've done and their wrongs and their rights and whatever, and just kind of learn.
Selfishly, this is like an excuse for us to talk to cool people and figure out where people are.
Facts. Like, definitely it's definitely for us, but I definitely hope whoever's listening is definitely going to be able to learn something and be able to pick a poll. And hopefully, it's not only going to be so serious and we're going to have people talking about numbers and business all the time. Hopefully we can have some comedians or entertaining people on here so people can, have some laughs. And this is also entertainment, not only just like a business podcast, but that's roughly what it's going to be targeted towards. So you'll be able to, watch it, on a lunch break or, listen to it on the car, get inspired, and whatever the case may be. So I'm excited for this whole thing.
Yeah, very important. This is going to be a weekly show for as long as you guys are interested in us doing this. We're going to be dropping a new episode every Monday. And so, we got all this podcasting equipment. We're super excited about this new thing that we're going to be doing. So hold us to it. We're going to be dropping a new episode on the Blinktone Studios YouTube, podcasting, Spotify, I don't know where else.
Wherever podcasts are streaming.
Yeah, we're gonna figure that out.
We're gonna try.
Yeah,
we're gonna try our hardest to get it on all these platforms. But as you guys can see, if you're watching it on YouTube, if you can't, we got a little setup. We're set up at Blinktone Studios right now, which is our film set in Hayward, California. For those who don't know. So it's going to be some of those things where, obviously for the listeners that are not watching, it's still going to be entertained. But for those that are watching, kind of got a little setup going.
Hope you like the setup that we chose.
We'll set up. We're going to have, and so like if you are watching, this might be, we might do this if you guys like it, just me and Adam talking. But for the most part, we're going to have guests on. It's going to be one person at a time for the most part, we think. And so normally it's going to be me and Adam sitting over there, guest sitting where I'm sitting at, and just super casual. This set might change over the course of us doing it if you guys like it, and it should be dope.
So enough housekeeping.
Enough of that.
Let's get in. So that's basically what this is that you're watching. Let's get into it. What are you shooting right now? What you got going on?
What am I working on right now? Just the regular, not to say that like most artists that I work with are just regular people, but just the regular everyday shoots, just point and shoot kind of videos. Just been working on those. Gotta get those knocked out. Gotta secure the bag at the end of the day. But got a couple projects that I'm working on that I'm super excited to drop, and let the people see, because I know it's kind of the same IMX, like the same person that I've been, like the same style that I've been doing for the past couple of years, but it's just starting to look polished. You know what I mean? Like at first I was kind of like going through this phase where I felt like I wasn't altering my style enough, but I realized it's like doesn't have to be completely different. It's just starting to look more polished and way better than it used to be. So I'm super excited to drop some of these videos. It almost feels like, I mean, I've come full circle where I've shot at some of the locations I used to shoot at when I was like a little bit younger, but like just way better now. So it's like super cool. But you know, yeah, just a couple videos that I'm glad, I'm happy to drop this month. And other than that, just a bunch of just point and shoot kind of videos.
Okay.
What you got going on, man?
Well, probably gonna go to LA towards the end of this month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that you and I, we both have plans of extending Blinktone past just the Bay Area. So it's like, part of it is I'm going down there for this commercial shoot, which I'm really excited about.
Oh, what is that?
It's like a sports commercial where it's like, I don't know if I want to talk too much about the idea behind it, but it's gonna be cool. So we're gonna go down there, shoot it for like a whole day. I'm gonna, you know, bring out the anamorphic. I'm gonna try to go crazy on it. But I was just thinking, because like the dude who was organizing it, he like initially bought me a plane ticket to go down there, and like I don't know if you know this about me, but I hate flying to a shoot.
I noticed that you every time you go to LA, it's like 100% of the time you drive. I don't even think I've ever seen you fly to LA ever. I've seen you fly to like Vegas or not Vegas, but like, you know, Detroit or whatever. Like whatever.
Yeah, no, I get anxiety like flying to shoots. Like there's just something that really makes me uncomfortable about like flying to a new city and then only bringing like what I have, and then having people like pick me up and then drive. Like I hate being on other people's agendas. Like that just makes me so uncomfortable. So if I can drive anywhere, I will drive somewhere, because if there's something that it's like I'm not really feeling, like I always want to have the opportunity to be able to like, all right, I'm gonna just dip. And
that is a major point, because like especially LA, like everything is so spaced out, and like, you know, I feel like it's just so mandatory to have a car out there. Like every time that I've gone out there for a shoot and I didn't have a car, you're just like waiting on the artist to make a move, and you're just doing whatever they're doing, like eating what they're eating, and like it's just not a good experience. So like last time I went out there was the first time that I drove out there with my car, like for a shoot, and it was dope, because like obviously I got to go wherever I want. It just felt way more comfortable.
You feel like, oh my God, I'm so independent.
Yeah,
like, I can go get some food when I want to go get some food. Because I hate being on other people's schedules, especially when I'm like traveling with somebody.
Yeah,
like,
especially artists, like they don't have schedules, so it's like whatever pops up in their head is like what they're doing. So it's like, you know, it's fun sometimes, but yeah, definitely having your own car and like transportation is cool, because like you said, like touching down and waiting for an artist, or even if it's like an Uber, it's just like, it's just extra. And then like you have to, sometimes, you know, you just carry what you have like on a carry-on, but like, you know, for the most part, if I do travel on a plane for a shoot, like obviously I make them pay for like a check bag, like obviously, because it's like I'm not gonna carry whatever. I'm not gonna like substitute my clothes for a fucking, you know,
that's like what I do when I like fly, is that like the other thing, like I just don't like flying in general, or like I like going to new places, but I don't like the flying process, because I also get just like really uncomfortable like checking bags, like just in case something happened and like got there and then everything is gone. Like that's like, I just get really worried about that. So most of the time, if I do like fly somewhere, like I really just break the Ronin down, put the Ronin in, couple pairs of underwear just in case, couple pairs of socks, t-shirt, and then it's really just like that and a camera, and I like don't pack anything else, like just in a backpack.
Thugging it out for sure. Just a couple pair of underwear get you by, and that's about it. No,
but that's part of the reason why I don't like flying, because I'm like, damn, I came out here and then I don't have anything.
You're just not comfortable. Like, you know what I mean? It's like that though, you know. It's like, you know, at a certain, you know, some of those shoots that we do, it's like sometimes the flying out, going to these locations are just like the return on investment is like not that great, you know what I mean? But at the same time, like it's less about the money and the comfortability, I guess you would say, and more about the experience and like just taking advantage of like kind of like the perks of like having the job that we have. It's like just, obviously sometimes it's not fun to go travel and do stuff with a random artist.
But you get cool memories.
Yeah, you get cool memories, and like, you might as well like go do a video in LA or Detroit or wherever, even if you're not making a great like return. It's because like, would you rather like make a great return, like keep on making the same return in the same place that you're like at for every month? You know what I mean? It's just like kind of like at a certain point it gets stale, and like we shoot videos and do art for a reason, like to just have fun and like not only be in one office or location at all times. So definitely like traveling and not making a great like return or like making a lot of money is definitely key sometimes for those memories, connections sometimes, and then like just being familiar with like because like at this point like I've become somewhat familiar with LA just because I've been there so much time shooting. So it's like it's cool, like it's cool not going back to LA. I kind of feel more comfortable being out there than I used to.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's a lot of perks to flying and traveling with artists, because I think that if I got $1 every time that I had somebody slide on my DM saying like, oh, can you fly out to Milwaukee, or like just the most random places from like the random accounts, like I'd be rich. But it's like, but I think that I'm not super into like doing all of that most of the time, even though I feel like I probably should, because some of those like opportunities that I probably pass up would be just fun to do, because I feel like most of the time when you're flying to a shoot and it's like a random artist, like the amount of time that you take to travel and to get to the location, and then they pay you for the shoot, it's like by that time, if you had just stayed home, you could have booked like 3 times as many videos. So it's like the monetary trade-off is most of the time it's not like you're making crazy money, but at the same time, like it is fun, and that is the unique perk about being in videography, is that a lot of times people like it's separate, it's different from other art forms, in that people want to make you travel, and like that's a really cool thing. So it's like taking advantage of that.
Like you said, like the money, I always think that every time somebody asks me to go to LA or wherever, like Seattle, like every time someone asks me to go somewhere outside the Bay Area, I always think about how long is the travel time? How long? In that time, I could have like 2 or 3 videos, and I could be making twice the amount of money. Like sometimes I get caught in that kind of mindset. But then, like you said, it's like it's not always about the money, because like if you just always stay in that mentality of like, let me just try to maximize like how much money I'm gonna get, like instead of like the experience or the overall whatever, it gets very stale. But like that is like one of those perks that like not a lot of jobs have. Like just fly somewhere random, work with a random artist, and you might have a great time. You know what I mean? And it's like obviously sometimes it's kind of risky to do that, but then also like sometimes it has like a big payoff. But that's something that like I wish I mean, not like when you're first starting off in like kind of the video world, you don't have a lot of those opportunities that present themselves. Like not a lot of people are willing to fly you out places, because like you're not that established. But I would say to like anybody that's kind of like, like have those kind of people tap in with you, and you're not really making a lot of money, but like the overall experience and the journeys there, I would always say just, go do that. It might, at the end, it might have not been worth it, but now but always just, take that leap and just do it, because like you got to realize not a lot of people get those opportunities that you're getting, and like being able to travel is like kind of in my eyes sometimes even worth more than money, because it's just like traveling is always fun, and like seeing different places is always cool, and it feeds that, like as corny as it sounds, but like it feeds that artist inside of you, bro. It's like if you're stuck in the same spot all the time every day, it's like how are you like supposed to create new stuff and like be inspired to, you know what I mean? Like
well, I think one of the things that probably is up there on my list of like the most valuable things that I've gotten out of shooting music videos for the time that I have, is that like I've almost gone to every place on the map in Northern California to shoot a video.
Facts.
Like so many places out here, and sometimes when it's kind of removed outside of the Bay, like it can be a little bit annoying just because I'm like, oh my God, I got to drive 4 hours to a shoot. But
or when it's like, it's like, I'm not gonna name drop any places because people are gonna hate me. But like where it's like a little town where like you've never heard of and there's nothing out there, like where it's like, this is not cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like I just drove 3 hours to go nowhere. You know what I mean? So it's like those places are kind of frustrating. But keep on saying what you're saying though.
But I think that a lot of times when I'm driving out to these random areas and kind of like even rural Northern California, like sometimes people shoot videos in the most random places. Like they get an Airbnb in the most weird random place, but then you drive out there, and sometimes like I stop on the way. Like I give myself more time than I really need, and I stop on the way and I just kind of like chill for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I just chill for a little bit, and I just bring my notebook and I'm just like like it's such a vibe for me to like be by myself and pull off and just be like, oh wow.
That was the last thing I thought you were gonna do.
No, I do that all the time, and that's like my Zen moment. And that's when I come back, I'm like, wow, really just wish I was back out there again, because I love those moments.
I feel that though. Like I think that is crazy because like I kind of have this conflicting kind of relationship with going out the way and spending like all day shooting like by myself, because it's like some days it's just like, you know, I kind of get in my head and I just like, man, this super far, like my, you know, I gotta be charging more money for this. I don't know this guy, the song's all right. Like just kind of get in my head and think it's just, you know, just super annoying, which is kind of irritating that when I reflect on it now, I'm just like, I shouldn't have that mindset. But then some of those times, like I really just, I'm driving in the middle of nowhere, I see nothing, but I'm like, man, this is kind of dope. Like, this is my life. You know what I mean? It's like I get to just vibe out in the car, maybe listen to a podcast or two, just YouTube videos, listen to music, and just think about what I'm going to shoot for the rest of the day. And then like, you know, like you said, just stop some places and just kind of chill for a second, or like, you know, go to a food spot that you never would go to, or whatever the case may be. It's like sometimes like I really do feel like so blessed that like I'm doing this and I'm getting paid, but it's like I wish I had those moments a little bit more than like kind of the negative moments. But like, you know, I guess it's healthy to have both of them, because then you appreciate those times a little bit more. But yeah, that is interesting though. Like, you know, going out to these random places in NorCal, like it's just like and that's one thing that's cool about videos and music videos in particular. It's like 90% of California I wouldn't have never seen or been to if it wasn't for music videos. Like, and even places that are close. Like,
but didn't you travel for soccer a little bit? Like, where'd you go for there?
I mean, like I went NorCal and like just a bunch of random places. I remember like there was a chicken on the soccer field one time when we were playing, and it was like crazy. But to be honest, and I'm not gonna, you know, go too deep, I'm not gonna expose myself. I don't know if it was with like, you know, because of drugs or anything, but like my memory is so bad. Like I don't know if you've noticed by this point, Adam, but like I can't remember anything, and it's like such a fault. Like me and my brother are just so bad at remembering names or things in the past. Like a lot of things like I think about in my past might not even be true. Like that might just be like made up stories that I thought, because I really have poor memory. And so like, honestly, I couldn't tell you where I went for soccer. I just know that there were like 2 hour, 3 hour drives. So there's some times where I'm like shooting a video, I'm like, I've definitely been here before.
Like, I get those moments all the time
before, but I just don't know what. And it probably was because of soccer, but like it is super interesting that like, like sometimes it's a little bit annoying, like I was saying, where it's like I'm in the middle of nowhere right now and I'm kind of frustrated. It's like, oh my God. But at the same time, I think about myself, I'm like, man, I get to experience something new. So it's like, it's really how you look at it. So it's like even me saying it out loud, I'm just kind of like, oh my God, like you're just such a diva for that. But like, it's true though. Like, you know, but yeah, man, it's interesting. It's like, it's a cool thing. It's just the way that you look at it. You know, it's like most things in life. It's just how you look at things, and like super cool that definitely for anybody that's kind of younger and new into the like kind of video or even photography space, I feel like it can apply to both. Like, sometimes it's, there's life is real, bills are real, rent is real. It's like, you got to make ends meet and get paid. But at the same time, it's like, definitely don't get too caught up in the, I need a check to compensate all of my work at all times. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Really enjoy the journey along the way and really like think about what you would be doing opposed to this. Like if you're doing this full time, like me and Adam right now, it's like, it's like
I
I said,
what's the alternative?
What's the alternative here? And it's like, okay, and that's what I really think about every time I get in those moods of like, oh my God, like, whatever. Because it's just like, it's natural. That's human behavior. Like sometimes I kind of get mad at myself for feeling that way, but then I also think it's like, come on, bro, this is like natural. No matter what you're doing, even if it's what you love, like it's a job at the end of the day. You're going to get irritated at some aspects and it's just what it is. But definitely think about what you would be doing opposed to this. And it's like, it's traveling to some place that you've never been to and like shooting a music video, like to music and like vibing out. Is that really the worst thing? Like, nah, it's really not.
I think that, I've done a lot of reflecting recently because feel like I've had more negative or more like strong mood swings when it comes to like my outlook on videography within the last maybe like 6 months than I had like before.
Mm-hmm.
And what I kind of realized is that it's like part of it is that I don't feel like I'm creatively fulfilled. So that's something that I need to work on myself. Is I need to, because I get a lot of enjoyment out of working on better videos that I'm really proud of. But besides that kind of excuse, I like what you were saying, there really isn't many things that I have to complain about with videography. Like most things, like there, I always have the ambition to like do bigger and better videos, but at the end of the day, it's like if I were to just take a snapshot at like what I'm shooting right now, like there's not a whole lot to complain about for me, but still I'm still like, oh, God, I'm so tired of this. But what I realized is that it's like, and I had the same feeling about soccer by the end of by the time that I kind of like lost interest in soccer, I had the exact same feeling of what I'm feeling right now. And I stopped playing soccer, and I literally have not played soccer since. Like, is that it's like no matter what you do, maybe this is just me, but given enough time of repetition and you pour your soul out into something and you just repeatedly do something over and over and over again, like you're just gonna burn out at some point. And it's like, and it's all about like kind of switching it up a little bit, because the point that I'm trying to make is that objectively I would feel like videography is like the coolest job. Like I find it to be so cool. It's the best job in my opinion, like the biggest perks. Like for somebody else, maybe like being the head chef, like in that person's eyes, like that's the best job. They couldn't ask for anything more. For me, shooting rap videos every day, like that's like the best job. Like when it comes to like the effort that you put in versus what you can get out, like it's ridiculous. But what I realized in that, like knowing how people like how my peers used to talk about, and even me, like school, like high school, like, oh my God, like I hate this school, like this school sucks. And what I realized is that I had a lot of friends that went to a lot of different high schools, like many different high schools. And every single one of them all said that their high school sucked. They were all like, oh, Berkeley High is the worst school. Like, oh, like Oakland Tech is the worst school.
Whatever school they go to is the worst school always. Like,
it's like, so whatever, it didn't matter what school it was. Everybody thought that their school was the worst. And
Their perspective,
but they had no other perspective of like going to any other school. So most of the people didn't have anything to compare it to. So they just looked at all of the bad things at their school and just chalked it up to, oh, I just go to a bad school.
Right.
And the comparison that I'm trying to make is that it's like, it's the same thing with jobs. It's like when you work at something so long, you kind of lose sight of like the other things that you could be doing. Right. So you start to only pinpoint the negative things about that job, and then you kind of like lose the perspective of like, but this actually is like really pretty good. Like I remember I had this same feeling when I was playing soccer, and for me, shooting music videos was the only thing I wanted to do, and music videos was the light at the end of the tunnel. And then so I just ran to the light at the end of the tunnel, and then I got there. And then now I'm at the point when I'm so comfortable in this spot that I'm like, I'm just looking for the new light at the end of the tunnel, but I should be appreciating what I ran to at a certain point.
What I think is interesting, it's like, and that's one thing that like definitely you've helped me with for sure, because I at a certain point I was just at like this point where I was just complaining about everything that I was doing, and I just found like I found like an annoyance with everything, with a client, with the process of shooting a video, and I always had this feeling of like, man, I should be charging way more than you know what I mean? And that's that's ego at the end of the day. It's like I feel like I deserve way more, but that's just what it is. But you did put in perspective. It's like, like this is like one in terms of film and like whatever, like this is one of like the sweetest jobs you could have, like, right? And it's like if you really put in perspective other aspects of film, it's like there's a lot of control, like a lot of things that are out of your control, and like you kind of have to follow like this certain rubric, and like there's a plan, and it's very like meticulous, and sometimes it's like annoying. But whereas like what we do is like we're both of us are at this point where it's like an artist will tell us, hey dude, do whatever you want to do, you know what I mean? Where it's like, dude, my job is to make something happen. Like whatever I think I want to happen can happen. Like that's what my job is, to just have an idea, go execute it, and then when I go edit, just do whatever I want. So it's like in the grand scheme of things, it's like it's kind of like the sickest thing that you could be doing. And like you said, in our eyes, you know what I mean? Like it could be different for you guys who don't do film. It's like, so whatever. But like you said, like that creative part is not like not being, fed. Like, at this point it's more about repetition and just kind of doing things, trying to get things out the way. It's like you're just going off of muscle memory. You're not actually creating anything new, right? Like when's the last time that you've done something for like the first time? You know what I mean? It's like it's rare that like that you get that feeling, and I think it's like, and that's really what it is. It's like, that's the thing. It's like how can you have excitement when excitement is not something that you could just like put that mask on every morning. Like today I'm gonna just be so happy about what I'm doing today. It's like me, it's like it like when it comes to creating something, it's like sure, I could just go and make. I know for a fact if you were like, here, make me a music video, that's cool, I could do that right now. I could just guarantee that. But like in terms of making something like really cool, that's just the feeling, you know what I mean? Because it's like, you see me when I get in a mode where it's like I have an idea, it's just there's no stopping that idea, you know what I mean? Like I just need to do it, and it's not like something that I'm forcing. It's just like as soon as something gets in my head, I have to do it. And it's just like
sometimes we just gotta run you through the motions. Like, Sebastian's on this train of thought, we gotta just let him do it, or else he's not gonna be able to sleep. Dead
ass though. That's just what it is. And it's like that's the peak for me. Like, that's what I chase, that feeling all the time. Like that's really an ideal situation. Every project I work on should be like that, but it's not like that. And it's like, and realistically, it's not going to always be like that. And that's where the hard work and, treating this like a job is really important, because it's like, not everything is sweet, dude. Like not everything is going to be the way that you want it to be. And everything is going to be a dream project for you. You have to put in that groundwork and kind of go through those processes. So that way, when you do get to those projects where you really are passionate about, now you kind of have all the fundamentals, and you know how to actually do stuff like from those shoots that you kind of didn't want to do. You know what I mean? So it's like all like, it's just all kind of it's a mix of like doing things that you don't want to do, getting kind of sick of it, but that pushes you to do more stuff and kind of switch it up. So it's like you have to go through those phases where you're kind of not totally enjoying what you're doing to kind of get to that next level. So it's really just about like knowing that and then learning when and how to elevate from that situation, because being caught up in the like, man, I'm not really interested in what I'm doing, and then staying there is like, that's where the trouble is, you know what I mean? That's not where you want to, that position is not where you want to be at for a long time. You know, that's kind of like a in between levels, you know, like, so.
Yeah.
Pretty much though, man.
I think that probably wraps it up for our first episode.
Yeah, man.
I think that, you know, this first episode, we just kind of started it off just the two of us, because in the future, we're probably hopefully going to have every episode be with a guest.
Yeah.
If not, if we can't get a guest for 1 week, it'll probably be like this again, where we just kind of just talk about random stuff. But
let me ask this question.
Yeah.
And it hopefully doesn't take us down this whole rabbit hole, but just to give people kind of like, because I know that whoever's watching this right now is like definitely know us somehow in terms of like know you personally, we've worked with you or whatever the case may be. So this is definitely probably a question that people are interested to know about you, or, you know, this is kind of like something that is the theme of the whole kind of podcast. It's like, yo, what was the time where you kind of found yourself not just being the guy that's like, you know, obviously you could charge people for anything, you know, start charging people to make t-shirts and you're just asking them for a certain price. But when do you think there was that point where you weren't just telling people a blanket price, where you kind of had a method to charging people and kind of like started to take this into more of a business sense? Because, you know, when I started, I had no type of like person that I was looking at to tell me like, hey, this is how you charge, and then you keep on going up from here, and this is like kind of the method that I've been going with. No, I was just like charging $50 to $100 and then $200. Then I thought I was lucky if I got $300, and I thought I was scamming people for $400. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like this guessing game of like, I think this guy will go for $400. And I'm not saying that to say that like we do that as directors, where we just look at your Instagram or your like who you are and we think that we could charge you more. It's like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying like,
I feel like definitely in the beginning, like you kind of just don't know, and you're just kind of shooting random numbers and seeing what sticks.
Right. So it's like, what was that point where like, okay, you've kind of started to understand how much effort that you're putting in, and how much you're charging, and then you started to come with more of like, okay, a plan, you would say, not necessarily like a real, like you wrote down a plan, but you know what I mean, like a turning point of where you turn this into like more of you quote unquote legitimate business, you know?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the overarching question that I think we want to be asking to a lot of like everybody who is going to be on the podcast will kind of have that moment, and that is something that I think that we really should get into. And everybody who's watching, if you've had that moment at some point, reflect on that, send us a DM. Let's like this. The reason for this podcast, I think that maybe this first episode felt a little self-indulgent because it's just us talking about us, but the reason for this podcast is to talk to other people and to get other people's perspective.
Right.
This was just the first episode. This is not how they're all going to be. So really this podcast is to start a conversation. DM us if you know of anybody that you think would be a good guest or somebody that we should talk to, or drop a comment. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're on Spotify, follow us. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Yes, sir.